It's such a privilege to come here and practice mindfulness. And it's been for me a stepping out of the story of my life with all its woes and sorrows and causes, and to come home to just this moment when we just move our hands, we just sense the sensations in the body and the sounds that are here and the sights, the taste in the mouth and the smells, and there's this, I don't know, there's in the eyes we talk about, we can see something three-dimensional, but when we are using all our senses and are aware and paying attention to the movements of the mind as well, there's a multi-dimensionality. And that multi-dimensionality is presence. It's just the beingness of this moment here. And it's in the context of us trying to free ourselves from our woes, from our stories, from the things that weigh on us, and to be at peace. So we as a Sangha, as a community, share this purpose, and our common wisdom supports each other. Our intention supports each other. And we have wonderful teachers. And not only in the words that they speak, but in their actions. They're an example of mindfulness, of that we can be present, that we can be truly here. And so, gratitude for that. And then we leave this place and we go out, and then do we carry our mindfulness with us, or does it get lost along the way? Do we hook on to things? So there is the teaching of I am a little shy of saying the word in Pali, dependent origination. So I am not qualified to explain that all, but there is a small aspect that I understand, which you know, these sensations, impressions that reach the eye, that reach the ear, that is the awareness of the body sensations, all that, and the movements in the mind, they are very much the direct experience of what exists, what's here, the all, the Buddha calls it. This is the all. But then our mind concocts around it. Our mind wraps itself around us and explains things to us and directs us to be worried or protect ourselves or get away from something or have to have something. And this is mostly coming out of the experience of pleasant and unpleasant sensation. Well, very natural, unpleasant sensations. Let me get out of here. Let me not experience that. But our mind easily builds a story around it and says, this is not supposed to be. I will not have this. And so creating our want, our desire to have it be different, kind of splits this whole world apart. The completeness of presence becomes something that we're struggling with. And this is the birth of I, or this is birth in the Buddhist explanation. Birth, that now there is an I who does not want this or has to have this. And this whole totality and awareness of being is constricted into this very small story. This little me who has to have something and repeats that over and over in my mind. This is really, I gotta have this, or this I have to avoid. And the repetitiveness of that is irksome. And we want to get out of it. But the way out of it is the way back into the present moment, because there, everything, the all is there. And so we have the light and the dark. And we're, if not preferring the light over the dark, but to see both playing together, we have freedom, and we have this freedom of me or my or self or my story. So of course we can have desire from the visual, from the things we smell, the things we taste. We can have that, and we can experience it. And the experience of it is what we should fully give ourselves to. But the grasping for more, or the fear not to have enough, or the resistance that this will go away unless, that puts us apart from the experience. And it's kind of, then we are continuing in a like we're the walking dead. We've given up aliveness, we've given up our direct experience and spontaneity of everything for a narrow piece of it, a little dream of me. A little dream of me. So an awareness is without limitation. But our desire, our greed, our aversion, and our denial of, or our blocking out of, makes it small. And so if I find myself going around and suddenly get caught up in something, and I find someone is unpleasant, and I build that up and I make a whole story about, well, this person, it is unpleasant, and I have to now no longer see that person, and I cannot be in the room with that person. I see that going on. I realize that's a dream that I have. It's a labeling and conditioning this experience and limiting it and making it small. And I think the reason that we bump up against one another is because we all have these defense mechanisms. And we especially get irritated with people who have similar defense mechanisms as ourselves, or the things that we think we've overcome and we're better at now. So how come you allow yourself to do that? And the story starts to bounce, and the explanations and the labels, and the little labels become the big judgments, and the big judgments become the big prisons, or really the very narrow space. But when we are finding our way back to this moment, to the awareness of the consciousness of the sense impressions, then we know that, it's all dark here, but there's a star there. And we are not completely one thing. We're not that thing that we think we are. We're not that little being. We're this the vastness of everything, this spacious quality of emptiness where everything is possible. And what is hiding now will come. And what seems to stare us in the face will go. And we're back connecting to this moving, multi-dimensional experience of being here. Now, I don't know if this is attachment to being, and I want to hold on to that because it is so rich. But it's not only rich, it's also an incentive to let go and to identify the little prison of attachment and the little prison of aversion and the crushing prison of I don't want to know, of numbness, of deadening ourselves to whatever possibility comes up. So that's kind of what I had to say. So maybe we can talk about that moment when we are aware that we're not aware. That wake-up moment when we realize, oh, this is not mindful. I'm not connected. I'm somewhere giving birth to this me. I think we all have that experience. I think that we all, feel the world is bigger and smaller as our mind moves. So where do you have those moments of that awareness? Oh, let me go back to mindfulness. Or can you carry it all along, all the time?
I usually only notice when I'm pretty upset. I get to a point I feel emotionally involved, very worried, or angry. Angry at something. It's usually clear.
Yeah.
But it sometimes it feels like a sort of like mindlessness feels like a sort of progressive affliction or disease or something. Like it gets a little more sleep, a little more. And it's an interesting question because I don't actually know what triggers. Because I could probably stay in a mood for a little while before I notice that I'm not paying attention. I don't know what starts me paying attention.
Yeah, I think I have that moment of anger, that flash of anger, and as long as I don't really do any major damage, it's a welcome thing. It's a welcome realization. Wait, what? Where am I? What am I paying attention to? And so our suffering is really good for us in that way. We can not stand it anymore, and then say, "Oh, let me find the ground again." I think also if we're not too judgmental about it and say, "Oh, this is unforgivable. I have a flash of anger. I shouldn't have that because I've been meditating for so many years." But then we can just see it and say, "Oh, I recognize you."
I find that I come up against the way I've been conditioned. And when you're small and you're just coming into the world, you pay attention to your elders and form your beliefs based on their opinions of the way things should be. And at times it's very hard to sift out what's the truth and what's opinion, and what we're coming up against in terms of the way we live. And I find that the biggest red flag for me is when I become personally invested in something. And it's my ego.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize it more and more and more. And when I'm coming from a place of ego, there's a big wall between me and you,
Mm-hmm.
me and the rest of the world, because I'm not speaking from my own truth, I'm speaking from my opinion. And when I have been able to become a witness of that and take refuge in stepping back and becoming the observer and not invested in the situation, not judging it, judging the people, judging myself, then I find it's such a relief. to give myself that kind of space, and that I don't have to become involved, or I don't have to defend, or I don't have to take a stand on everything, and it is a relief to just be able to have that freedom to, if I choose to respond, I can respond. If I don't want to respond, I don't have to respond. Life goes on with or without that. And I just, the more I meditate, the more I come here, the more I feel I can be myself without the judgment.
Uh-huh.
And the criticism and the worry and the, all those just very dark, heavy emotions, and just be free to be me, whomever that might be. So.
I think it's sometimes so hard to see the judgments that we wrapped ourselves into.
Yeah.
Right? I think that I've been here for the first 6 years meditating, asking myself, what is this supposed to do for me? What is this movement? Why would this help me? What is this going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And trying to wrap my mind around an explanation and understanding that this is just this.
Right.
And this is not the same as, and this doesn't have to figure out that
Right,
they can
right.
exist.
That's a trap, isn't it? I mean, when we have to know.
We are in our heads.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
We don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So 6 years doing this and not feeling anything. It's absurd, right? It's so crazy. I don't have any feelings. I'm just doing this because I don't want to be a bad student.
What does the gentleman here have to say?
Well, you simply move it, and then the feeling, what you feel, is just natural. You don't have to make any explanation. You simply move, and you just feel it slightly. Don't pay too much attention. Don't concentrate in the movement. Just move naturally, and you just feel it slightly as it is. And then the awareness, little by little, will increase. And then awareness will, by its very nature, will observe the random thoughts, the unintentional thoughts. And we don't have to stare at the random thoughts. Just something like Ajanda said that we just look at the house and somebody walk past by this window, that door. We just see it like that. We don't have to guess or stare at the person outside the door. We just simply know that somebody walked past by the window, the doors, and so on. So that is the way to observe thoughts.
Yes.
Yes, and then we will feel relaxed,
Yes.
released from inner burden, inner heaviness.
Yes.
It will be reduced by itself. And when we do the movement naturally, without paying too much attention, then the awareness that increase that observe the thought will go against the stream of thoughts by its very nature. We don't have to make that intention, because awareness itself will observe thoughts. Thought is the effects, and awareness will go against the stream of thought, little by little, until to its source of thoughts. That is very critical.
Yes.
That is how we end our suffering.
Yes.
Yeah. So meditation is not concentration or focus, because concentration or focus will hypnotize or make thoughts concentration or in concentration it forces the thought not to think.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just do like this. We feel slightly, naturally, and let the thought flow by itself, by its very nature. And then the awakening is to observe thought and go against the stream of thoughts.
Yes.
That is the right direction in meditation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned the source of thought. Is that the first thought, or the consciousness of the eye that sees something and then wants something?
Well, let Ajanda answer this. Ajanda, come here. Yeah. No, it's okay. Oh, careful. No. Yeah, you sit here. Yeah, you sit here.แฟรงก์เขาถามว่าเมื่อเราดูความคิดเนี่ยแล้วเราจะทวนกระแสความคิดไปจนถึงต้นตอของความคิดไอ้ต้นตอของความคิดนั้นเป็นอย่างไร
เพราะว่าความคิดมันเกิดจากความว่างบางทีมันเกิดจากความวุ่นนะมันขุ่นใจขึ้นมาคิดถึงคนที่เราไม่ชอบไอ้ความคิดต้นตอมันตึกๆส้นสูตรของมันมีเพื่อนคนหนึ่งเขาบอกผม
เดี๋ยวสั้นๆเดี๋ยวผมแปลก่อน
เขาเลยบอกว่ามองข้ามความคิดไปเลยนะอะไรเขาบอกว่าเพื่อนรุ่นเดียวกันแต่เขาพูดคำนี้ไม่เคยลืมมองข้ามความคิดไปมองข้ามมันไม่มีอะไรที่ข้ามล้วนเลยไม่มีอะไรหรอก
ไม่ต้นตอของความคิดนี่เป็นยังไงคือคำถาม
มันจากความไม่มีนั่นแหละมันเกิดพิสูจน์ที่กวนบ้านก่อนนี้กระเด็นถูกไว้ไปโดนโอ้แต่ก่อนไม่มีอะไรนะไอ้ไม่เห็นปัจจัยมัน
The source of thought is emptiness. And Ajanda told the story, I think as a Zen story, that a monk trying very hard in his meditation, trying to know the Dhamma. And one day he just swept the floor, and the small stone just cracked to the bamboo trees. And the sound make the monks enlightened. So the source of thought is emptiness. But sometimes Janda mentioned that sometimes it create out of the circumstance to have thoughts, but eventually it return to emptiness. Yeah.
ที่เราคิดกันว่าจากความไม่มีสู่ความมีจากความมีไปสู่ความไม่มีก็สบายนะมันไม่มีอะไรก็กระดาษต้องมีมันเพิ่งมีไม่กี่ปีมันจะไปมันจะไม่มีนะมันจะจบแล้วจากความไม่มีมาสู่ความมี
From nothingness to some existence, and from some existence to nothingness.
Come and go.
Come and go. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You have anything to make comment or question? No. Okay. So I think the time is up. So we hope to see you again tomorrow morning.
Yes, thank you very much. What time is the meditation tomorrow?
9:30.
Okay.
And there is a 2-day retreat, 9:30, starting 9:30 on Saturday till 8:30. There'll be dinner is served, but you may want to bring something to eat if you can come for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on Sunday from 9:30 till 4:30. And that'll be our last opportunity, I believe, to have you and Ajahn Anika.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. Sorry.